When you come up the dirt road and it looks like you're lost, and then all of a sudden you see this big green wall in this field, it's really special because I think part of the charm of this place is that it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. When my brother came here for the first time and walked down the path, he said, "Wow, this is the 8th wonder of the world." I am Pat O'Connor. We're here in Essex, Vermont, in the backyard of my home. Well, my first desire was actually to be a player, and so I played baseball all the way up through college. And on the side, I would always pay attention to how fields were manicured. Well, one of the things I did in 1993 was to travel to see all the major league teams in a couple weeks with my brothers. And so it was during that trip that I started to think of, geez, I need to do something even bigger with baseball. Around 1999, I thought, with this property in Vermont, why not build a baseball field? Growing up, one of my favorite things to do was go to a major league ballpark, seeing that beautiful green grass. I said, well, if I make it a field for wiffle ball, it'll be smaller and it'll be much easier for me to maintain myself. I drew up a diagram on a napkin of the field in Boston because that was my favorite ballpark of all the major league parks. Showed it to my best friend and he loved the idea.
I was a little skeptical, but as it started to develop and things went along, I embraced it. He had a vision and he's followed through on it more than I ever expected.
I asked a couple of guys to come over in the fall of 2000. All I told them really was we're going to build a field. The first step was to drill 39 different holes, put up the wall. It was all brush here and it wasn't level at all, so I did have an excavator come in and then I fine-tuned it and we proceeded to put the sod down. And what's interesting about it is that I wouldn't change anything here 15 years later. Yeah, that was really important to have the same color as the field in Boston. A friend of mine went to a Boston game and actually chipped a piece of paint off and we were able to go in and match the color of the paint. What I would say as far as keeping this field really nice, it really takes good tools, a good lawnmower, a good edger, and it takes some tenacity and time. My advice for someone that's trying to take care of their lawn is really have to stay on top of it 12 months a year. You'll start to notice some of the details when you do that.
I used to say that when he got home from work that he would come out here first to make sure that all the little blades of grass were standing up straight. He loves being out here when no one's here. He loves being here when people are here. He loves thinking of what's next. It's who he is.
I think one of the keys of being a successful groundskeeper is constantly looking to improve it.
Pat has such a deep love of baseball, and I think that wiffle ball is what he can do to have baseball every day.
When I first built this field, the purpose was really just to bring people together to have fun, just to have good old-fashioned backyard wiffle ball games. After reading a book called 11 Seconds by Travis Roy, a hockey player who was paralyzed 11 seconds into his first shift at Boston University, I contacted Travis's foundation, said, how would you like to have an event up here and raise some money for spinal cord injury survivors? We had 7 teams here in 2002. On a one-day event, we raised $4,000. And since that first event, we've had an annual event for the Travis Roy Foundation. And it's grown from 7 teams to 16 and now 32 teams, from 1 day to 3 days, and from $4,000 to about $600,000 a year in fundraising. Yeah, we built this field in 2001, and then as we started to do the charity events, I realized that more and more teams wanted to play here. So we decided to build Little Wrigley. And then about 7 years later, we were faced with the same dilemma, so we needed a third field. We decided to build a Little Field of Dreams.
As a professional groundskeeper, I think Pat does an amazing job. This is an undaunting task. We're standing here just on Little Fenway. He's got 2 more fields, and just the daily upkeep is amazing. I mean, it's more than a full-time job.
I feel like this project over the last 15 years has developed me into a better groundskeeper than I was on day one, but I still feel like I have a long way to go. I still consider myself an amateur. Well, what I've learned after watching thousands of games here over the years is that people that come here and have fun then take that enjoyment and spread the word. This community has become a big team that is all about helping others. There's no better satisfaction than that for what we put into these fields. I don't think it can get any better than this.